All right, welcome to the GeoLang channel. Today we're going to be talking about Lithuanian. Let's get started. Lithuanian is an East Baltic language belonging to the Baltic branch of the Indo-European family. It is the language of Lithuanians and the official language of Lithuania, as well as one of the official languages of the European Union. There are approximately 2.8 million native Lithuanian speakers in Lithuania, and about 1 million speakers elsewhere. Around 500,000 inhabitants of Lithuania of non-Lithuanian background speak Lithuanian daily as a second language. Lithuanian is closely related to neighboring Latvian, though the two languages are not mutually intelligible. It is written in a Latin script. In some respects, some linguists consider it to be the most conservative of the existing European languages, retaining features of the Proto-Indo-European language that disappeared throughout the development from other descendant languages. All right, history. Among Indo-European languages, Lithuanian is conservative in its grammar and phonology, retaining archaic features otherwise found only in ancient languages such as Sanskrit or ancient Greek. Thus, it is an important source for the reconstruction of the Proto-Indo-European language, despite its late attestation, and that is attestation being the earliest text dating only to 1500 AD, whereas ancient Greek was first written down in 1450 BC. According to hydronyms of Baltic origin, the Baltic languages were spoken in a large area east of the Baltic Sea, and in 1000 BC it had two linguistic units, Western and Eastern. The Greek geographer Ptolemy had already written of two Baltic tribes or nations by name, the Galindai and Sudanoi, in the 2nd century AD. Lithuanian originated from the Eastern Baltic group and remained nearly unchanged until 1 AD. However, in 500 AD, the language of the northern part of the Eastern Balts was influenced by the Finnic languages, which fueled the development of changes from the language of the Southern Balts. The language of the Southern Balts was less influenced by this process and retained many of its older features, which from Lithuanian. According to research, the Eastern Baltic languages split from the Western Baltic ones between 400 BC and 600 BC. And this is just a picture on the prevalence of Baltic hydronyms. And then this is the language areas of Lithuanian in the 16th century. The differentiation between Lithuanian and Latvian started after 800 AD. For a long period, they could be considered dialects of a single language. At a minimum, translational dialects existed until the 14th or 15th century and perhaps as late as the 17th century. The German Sword Brethren occupied the western part of the Daugava Basin, which resulted in colonization of the territory of modern Latvia. At this time, it was called Terra Mariana by the Germans and had a significant influence on the language's independent development due to Germanization. There was fascination with the Lithuanian people and their language among the late 19th century researchers, and the philologist Isaac Taylor wrote the following on his The Origin of the Aryans. Thus it would seem that the Lithuanians have the best claim to represent the primitive Aryan race, as their language exhibits fewer of those phonetic changes and of those grammatical losses which are consequent on the acquirement of foreign speech. By studying names of Lithuanian origin, linguist Jan Zafarwitz concluded that the eastern boundaries of Lithuanian used to be the shape of zigzags through Grodno, Shchuchin, Lada, Balazin, Sphere, and Breslau. Such eastern boundaries partially coincide with the spread of Catholic and Orthodox faith, and should have existed at the time of the Christianization of Lithuania in 1387 and later. Sepharic's eastern boundaries were moved even further to the south and east by other scholars. Proto-Balto-Slavic branched off directly from Proto-Indo-European, then sub-branched into Proto-Baltic and Proto-Slavic. Proto-Baltic branched off into Proto-West Baltic and Proto-East Baltic. The Baltic languages passed through a Proto-Balto-Slavic stage, from which the Baltic languages retain numerous exclusive and non-exclusive lexical, morphological, phonological, and accentual isoglosses in common with Slavic languages, which represent their closest living Indo-European relatives. Moreover, with Lithuanian being so archaic in phonology, Slavic words can often be deduced from Lithuanian by regular sound laws, for example, Lithuanian vilkas and Polish vilk. Initially, Lithuanian was a spoken language in the Grand Duchy of Lithuania and Duchy of Prussia, when the beginning of Lithuanian writing is possibly associated with the introduction of Christianity in Lithuania, when Mindaugas was baptized and crowned king of Lithuania in 1250 to 1251. It is believed that prayers were translated into the local dialect of Lithuanian by Frankish monks during the baptisms of Mindaugas. However, none of the writings have survived. The first recorded Lithuanian word reported to have been said on 24th December 1207 from the Chronicle of Henry of Latvia was Ba, an interjection of a Latvian raider after he found no loot to pillage in a church.